Welcome to Chatterfang. As far as our opening hand goes, yeah, we'll keep on this one. We've got 3 lands. We've got Skyshot Claim, and we do have Merciless Executioner for a little bit of removal, and of course, Go for the Throat. And we're playing against Magda today, which I always enjoy playing against Magda. Magda is a pretty fun commander to play against, and also a pretty fun commander to play. So let's see if our opponent wants to keep on 7. They did mulligan down. Oh, there we go. All right, so we can get this started. Let's go and lead off with Prismatic Vista. I think that works out. We'll go and crack Prismatic Vista. That way we can get it out of the way. And grab ourselves a forest, and then anything else. Let's go and pass the turn over to our opponent. We're playing Chatterfang, Squirrel General. Oh yeah, Forest Walk. If 4 or more tokens will be created under your control, those tokens plus that many 1/1 green squirrel tokens are created instead. Then for a black mana activation, sacrifice X squirrels. Target creature gets plus X minus X until end of turn. And our opponent's got the double vault action on turn 1. That's Treasure Vault with Mana Vault. I like it. So let's see. Hopefully we hit that 4th lane for Skyshot Claim. There we go. So let's go and lead off with that command tower. We do have Go for the Throat active, but nothing else. So we're going to go and pass the turn. Playing against Magda, Brazen Outlaw. Other dwarves you control get +1/+0. Then whenever a dwarf you control becomes tapped, create a treasure token. Then for an activated ability, sacrifice 5 treasure tokens. Search your library for an artifact or a dragon card. Put that card on the battlefield. Then shuffle your library. So we'll see if they get a red source for Magda. Oh, look how flavorful this is. We've got the Treasure Vault, the Mana Vault, and we've got Dwarven Ruins out there. I'm digging this. So, but yes, if you haven't played Magda or played against it, those treasure tokens can get going pretty quick. And yeah, that's a tutor out of the deck, and so that can get out of hand pretty quick. So it's going to lead off with Swamp. And yeah, I think at this point we'll just end up just going for Chatterfang. Let's get Chatterfang onto the battlefield. So it's going to be green, double colorless, and then anything else we're going to pass it over to our opponent. So we did cover both commanders. Give a quick shout out to our sponsors, TCG Player. If you go to bit.ly/JoltMTG, that'll apply my affiliate link. That'll allow you to get some cards and help support the channel at the same time. So if you use that link, much obliged. Certainly appreciate it. Let's give a quick shout out to MTGOTraders, inkgaming.com. And last but not least, I started a Patreon. So if you'd like to directly support cool content like this, there's a link down in the description below. But if you're keeping score at home in the tree where Chatterfang lives, it is officially free time. So let's have some fun. All right, so we've got Magda on the battlefield. They didn't tap down Mana Vault, so I think what we're going to end up doing is going for Merciless Executioner. That way it does keep us open on Go for the Throat if they do end up going for Magda, because there's no other creatures out there right now. You know, they didn't have a turn 1 dwarf, or at least they don't as of yet. So let's see what this is going to be. But if it's not a creature, then I feel like we're in a pretty good spot to go for Merciless Executioner. So let's see what this is going to be. Okay, and they just tapped down. Oh, they used the holdout settlement to tap down Magda. I was trying to figure out how they did that. But yes, that's another wonderful way to get those treasure tokens on the battlefield. So, but yes, this will clear the way for Merciless Executioner. We could end up going for Skyshot Claim if we wanted to and Go for the Throat, but I'd really like to be able to get this down. So let's go and lead off with Polluted Delta. Let's go and grab ourselves a Bayou. Get that Bayou onto the battlefield. And actually, since we're only going for 3 this turn, we're just going to grab a Woodland Chasm. So we'll have that come into play tapped. Let's go for Merciless Executioner. It's going to be 1, 2, 3. And then we're going to choose Merciless. And their opponent's going to choose Magda. That's going to send Magda back to the command zone. They're going to be able to get in for 3. I like it. There we go. All right, so we get it for 3, and then anything else we're going to pass the turn over to our opponent. But yes, it is free time. What are we doing with Chatterfang? Chatterfang, this is kind of not super heavy Squirrel Tribal. You can certainly go Squirrel Tribal with Chatterfang. But what we're trying to do with this deck is use a lot of kind of value-based token enablers to get those down, and then just use Chatterfang as kind of like a parallel lives, or just like a doubling season, you know, just having a lot of bodies on the battlefield. And once we do get those bodies on the battlefield, and we've got stuff like Overrun, and of course, we're going to hoof it up. We got Crater Hoof in here, and that allow. Oh goodness, I saw our opponent got Mana Crypt down too. But yeah, having Crater Hoof out here, it allows us to build up the game. You know, whether we're getting little sapling tokens on the battlefield, maybe we're getting spiders from Arachnogenesis, whatever that may be. Simply just having this amplifying effect that we can get down very quickly, that allows us to build up a very nice board state. And then also, the other part of the deck that we're running is just kind of green-black rock, where we're just running a lot of removal. We're just trying to 1-for-1 or 2-for-1. And, you know, even if our removal spells are just 1-for-1, just simply having Chatterfang as a token enabler It allows us to kind of build up that board state quicker than our opponent can. So let's take a quick look with what they've got. So they got Mana Crypt out there. They've got double treasure tokens, and that's going to be a pass on the turn. So what we're probably going to end up doing is going, we'll see what we draw into, but we're probably going to end up going for peatland, and that's Reclamation Sage. Okay, so let's do this. So let's go for peatland. Let's go for Skyshroud Claim. That's going to jump 2 lands onto the battlefield untapped. So it's going to get this popped out. And let's go ahead and grab Bayou. And I think we're okay to go ahead and pay 2 on Overgrown Tomb just to have access to the 2 mana. So yes, let's go ahead and pay 2 life on this one. And at this point, so we've got Rampant Growth that'll put a card onto the battlefield tapped. So that will cut us off on land. So let's still go ahead and go for the throat. I'd like to keep Magda off the battlefield, I think, at this point before they untap. Yeah, let's do that. So let's go for the throat. We're going to send Magda back to the command zone. So let's go and push in for 3. And really the only thing that we need to kind of find right now is just some sort of card draw source to start to build up our board state. So let's go and swing it for 3. That's going to drop our opponent down to 34. That'll be 6 total commander damage. Then we'll pass the turn. But yeah, we're getting there. We've got like 5 more turns with Chatterfang. We've got commander damage, so you can also use Chatterfang as a Voltron threat, 3 swings at a time. But yeah, we'll go for Rampant Growth next turn. We'll probably drop in Reclamation Sage on Mana Vault. I think that'll work out, and then hopefully just draw into some sort of card draw source and kind of go from there. We are running not a crazy amount of tutors in here, but we've got Demonic Tutor, Vampiric Tutor, so that allows us to find something like Phyrexian Arena or Ancient Craving, something just to get the card draw flowing. But yes, if you haven't played Chatterfang, I highly recommend it. And especially if you're not a token person in Commander, being able to get double tokens, it'll quickly show you how nice it is to have a token commander out there. So that's always pretty cool. All right, so opponent's going to get the treasure token on the battlefield. We haven't seen a lot of dwarfs, and I don't know if our opponent has just run into a lot of mana ramp, or they're just kind of using this as some sort of kind of mono red stompy, like mono red stompy, just grab a big dragon style deck, which you can certainly do that with Magda. So let's see what we draw into though. So that's going to be, all right, so that's going to be Night's Whisper. So let's go and go for a Night's Whisper just to kind of see what we can draw into. And it's going to be Draykeeper and Read the Bones. So if we end up going for Read the Bones, that'll be a little bit of extra card draw, but at least with Draykeeper, that's going to get us some squirrels on the battlefield, which is exactly what we want to do. All right, so we're going to get Draykeeper down. That's going to be end up being 4 total squirrels. Oh, look at that. And then we can still end up swinging in past Dockside Extortionist. So let's go and swing in for another 3. We're getting the commander damage going. I like it. All right, so we're going to swing across for 3. That's going to drop our opponent up to 6 commander damage, drop them down to 31. And then anything else, pass the turn. So we'll end up going for Read the Bones next turn. They're at the point now to where they've got treasure tokens going. They've got Ruby Medallion. We might end up holding on to Reclamation Sage just to, because that's one of the cool things about Magda is that it's an artifact or a dragon card. So like with my Magda deck, it is a dwarf tribal deck, but we're not really running a lot of dragons in there. One of the things that we're trying to do is drop in some sort of mass tribal effect, something like Coat of Arms, and give all of our dwarfs this really, really high bonus to where it's just really hard to kind of beat a swing from the Magda opponent, or at least the Magda player. And so probably holding on to Reclamation Sage, that might be a better option for us, or if they do have some sort of high payoff artifact and they don't have Indestructible, and then we'll end up saving Reclamation Sage for that. But yes, they released, well, they've got Jumpstart, I think, on Arena, which is, there is new cards. And if you don't know this, so Jumpstart Historic is one of the new sets that they're putting out on Can't Search Libraries. At the beginning extra turn, that player skips that turn instead. All right, so that's not the end of the world. We're not holding on to any tutors. But yeah, with that Jumpstart Historic, they did introduce some brand new digital cards, if you didn't see that. So that's pretty interesting. So we'll kind of talk about that here in a second. So let's see what we draw into. That's going to be Triumph of the Horde. Okay, so everybody gets +2/+2, and I think that's going to be it, because they've got one blocker that's going to be Dockside, and then everybody is at least a 1/1 that's going to be 2/4/8. Yeah, why not? Let's go and drop it. Let's see if this is good. I mean, they've got access to mana, so they've got spot removal. Let's go and drop it in. But I think that's going to be infect trample damage. Let's see. Let's give it a shot. Let's go and push in with the crew. Because that's going to be 4-3. Yeah, I think that's going to get it. There we go. But then that's another thing that we're running in the deck. You know, Triumph of the Hordes is not a completely, you know, it's not like Overrun, it's not Crater Hoof, but there is some times to where we're able to utilize the Chatterfang effect with Drakekeeper and dropping the infect damage right there. So, but yeah, with the Jumpstart, so they're adding some new digital cards to Arena that are digital only, and they're actually pretty cool. I see where they could not be implemented into regular Magic unless you had some sort of companion app for it. But like they have some sort of, if you don't know what Mormir is where you just basically pay 2 and then you get a random 2-drop creature across Magic's history. So they end up making an artifact like that, which is pretty interesting. And there's a few other ones, like there's a Planeswalker, I think it's Davrel, that just has this whole assortment of like a -2 option. And so, but anyway, that's the set that came out, and if you didn't know that. And let's kind of hop over to the chat and see if our opponent is... because they do have access to mana. They've got 4 total mana, and then they've also got... they've got 4 treasure tokens, and they got 3 from Mana Ball. So they got 7 mana, but they only got 2 cards in the hand. So let's see if they've got any sort of answer for this. We're going to go ahead and scoop it up. I was trying to give our opponent enough time, but maybe they just went away from computer or something like that, or maybe they disconnected. But anyway, we're going to get it with the infect damage, so I'll catch you in the next game. All right, bye. Welcome to Chatterfang. As far as our opening hand goes... Ooh, we've got a... We don't have a color source. But it is very tempting, the thought of hitting a... No, we've got to ship this one back. Yeah, let's ship this one back. Don't want to do... Ooh, yucky. All right, so we're definitely going to ship that one back. And we will keep on this one. There we go. All right, so we need to put 2 cards on the bottom. I think at this point we'll put Yavimaya Hollow, and we will put Snow-Covered Swamp on the bottom. I think that'll work out. All right, there we go. All right, so click OK. So unfortunately, we're down to 5 to get the game started, but hopefully we can bounce back from this. You know, might end up getting some life from the loam action going just to kind of see. And our opponent just, this is a Chatterfang versus Chatterfang, if you didn't notice, and our opponent goes, this is nuts. And let me tell you something, it is nuts. It's going to lead off with command. Oh, so dumb. I love it. Let's go lead off with Command Tower than anything else. Let's go and pass the turn to our opponent. We are playing Chatterfang, Squirrel General. Force Walk. If one or more tokens would be created under your control, create that those tokens plus that many 1/1 green squirrel tokens are created instead. Then for a black mana activation, sacrifice X squirrels. Target creature gets +X -X until end of turn. Playing against Chatterfang, Squirrel General. Force Walk. If one or more tokens will be created under your control, those many tokens plus that many 1/1 squirrel tokens are created. Black mana activation, sacrifice X squirrels. Target creature gets +X -X until end of turn. There, if you didn't believe me, it is Chatterfang versus Chatterfang. All right, so our opponent's got Tireless Tracker kicking, and they're off to a very nice start. Hey, Soul Ring, we will certainly take that. So let's go and lead off with Lano. Actually, we'll go Blooming Marsh. That way we're not getting into a goofy spot with that. Let's go for Soul Ring. And let's get old Chatterfang on the battlefield. And I think that sounds like a pretty good plan. Now, with Worldly Tutor, what we'll probably end up doing is going for... We can either go for Awakening Zone, or we can go for Scut Swarm. I think what we may end up doing... Well, actually, with Worldly Tutor, we're not going to be able to grab an enchantment. So I think with Worldly Tutor, the better option would be to go for Scut Swarm. That way we can start to generate a ton of tokens on our side of the battlefield as quickly as possible. You know, if we're going to have the Squirrel versus Squirrel... Oh, guys, Cradle, too. My goodness. This is going to get pretty nutty pretty quick. Now, one thing that we might end up doing... And that's, yeah, especially with Abrupt Decay. Now we're definitely going to do that. So let's send Chatterfang back to the command zone. So we're going to go for Damnation because they are down to 2 cards left in the hand. And once we end up popping this guy's Cradle, that's really going to help them to where they're not going to be able to generate this value board state. All right, so they're swinging it for 4. That's going to drop us down to 36. Let's cash in this Damnation. I like that. And drop in Lano Warways. Let's go for Damnation. That's going to be double black. Oh, yeah. Yeah, let's get it going. Let's get the party started. Too many tokens out there. Anything else pass the turn to our opponent. So, but yes, we did cover both commanders. Let's give a quick shout out to our sponsors, TCG Player. If you go to bit.ly/JoltMTG and you've got squirrels on the brain, hey, use that link to get some squirrel cards. If you do, much obliged. Let's give a quick shout out to MTGOTraders for all your digital card needs. Let's give a quick shout out to inkgaming.com if you want to get some play mats going. And also, I started a Patreon, so if you'd like to directly support cool content like this, there's a link down in the description below. But if you're keeping score at home, it is officially free time, and our opponent's cracking some clue tokens, so I kind of like that, because they've only got 2 mana right now. Oh yeah, let's have some fun. So we're looking at 5, 1, 2, 3, 4. Yeah, we'll wait on Worldly Tutor. Let's see what we draw into. All right, it's drawn into Prismatic Vista, which is actually really good with Life from the Loam. So let's go and go Prismatic Vista. Let's go and crack Prismatic Vista. Let's grab ourselves a green source. Let's get old Chatterfang back on the battlefield. Hit the reset button. That's going to be 1, 2, 3, 4. And 5. That'll allow us to get Chatterfang down, still keep open Worldly Tutor, and pass the turn. Yeah, so with Worldly Tutor, what we'll probably end up doing, we can Worldly Tutor and go for Scut Swarm. If we end up going Reclamation Sage on Mana Crypt, that's really going to cut them down on mana. It's really not going to allow them to get stuff moving on their side of the battlefield. I feel like that's going to be pretty important to kind of bottleneck them on mana. And so, well, if we rip into a land... Well, we're not going to rip onto the land if we go for Worldly Tutor. I think either way, we still want to get the... Oh, no, actually, with them going for Phyrexian Arena, yeah, I like the Rex Sage lineup play. So let's just go and do this. So let's go and go Worldly Tutor. Let's get this popped out, because we still just need to get a token source going. So, and I guess if we wanted to, instead of Scut Swarm, we could go for something like Drake Keeper or one of the Hermits, because we definitely have the mana for it, and we get the tribal effect. Yeah, I think I like that. So let's go for Deep Forest Hermit. Let's do that instead, because if we can kind of squeeze in a little bit of a combat damage against our opponent, kind of capitalize on that, I kind of like that. So we're going to draw into that for next turn. But at least right now, we're going to be able to go for Rex Sage and Life from the Loam. So let's go Rex Sage. So the important thing right now is, do we want to pop Phyrexian Arena or do we want to pop Mana Crypt? With them not having mana, we want to keep... Because now they're going to be limited to simply just going for their land drops, I think. It is very tempting to get rid of Phyrexian Arena, though. Yeah, oh, this is a tough one. So Phyrexian Arena gets rid of the card draw. Mana Crypt's going to cut them off mana, and basically they're only sitting at 3 mana with Mana Crypt. So that's going to be them trying to make land drops for the turn. I think normally you always go for Phyrexian Arena, but I'm going to grab Mana Crypt on this one, just simply because... If they just don't have the mana to do stuff, it's going to be really hard for them to get anything moving. So let's go Life from the Loam on Prismatic Vista. And that's going to be that. That way we can make the land drop for the turn. Let's crack that. Let's go ahead and do that. That way we can kind of keep track of stuff. Let's grab ourselves... We do have Field of the Dead in here, so we'll just grab a Snow-Covered Forest. Let's go and push in for 3. It's going to knock our opponent down to 29, and then anything else past the turn. But yes, with Mana Crypt, you know, we could have gone for Phyrexian Arena, and that would have been a good option. Phyrexian Arena is going to give them opportunities to get ahead on mana and do different things like that, make land drops. But at this point right now, with Chatterfang being back in the command zone at 5, and them having a Guy's Cradle out there, ooh... That's going to be Necropotence. I was just hoping that we could set up a sequence to where Deep Forest Hermit allows us to get some extra damage going. But with this Necropotence, this is... let's go and always yield to these triggers. And then we'll see what else. But yeah, with this Deep Forest Hermit, it's going to be like 10 squirrels on the battlefield, which is one of the best feelings in the world. All right. And do we want to dredge? I think we're okay skipping dredging Life from the Loam. Let's... Ooh, Heroic Intervention. Okay. So let's drop in Deep Forest Hermit. That's going to be 1, 2, 3, 4. And we're going to have just enough for that. That's going to be Lana War Waste. And let's get these squirrels going on the battlefield. It's going to be 8 of those squirrels. Oh, yeah. Let's go and push in. That's going to be Chatterfang. And we could pump it up just a little bit. Yeah, we'll wait in the next turn. We'll see what's moving. So let's go and swing in for 6. That's going to drop our opponent down to 19. And one of the things that I know our opponent's going to be digging for with Necropotence is going to be some sort of board wipe. And so, with Heroic Intervention, we're going to have an answer. And then we should be able to kind of grind it out next turn. Because we've got 16 in squirrel damage alone in the tokens. So let's see what they can assemble. And they still are limited on mana. They've got 1, 2, 3, 4. They only have access to 4 total mana. Because Guy's Cradle does not tap down for anything. And we'll kind of see what's moving. But yeah, that's one of the fun things about. All right, opponent's going to scoop it up on that one. We've got it. They got off to a pretty quick start with that Mana Crypt, Tireless Tracker. Thankfully, we're able to rip into that Damnation and reset the board. We're going to be able to swing in next turn. Even if our opponent did Necropotence into some sort of board wipe, they'd have to have Toxic Deluge to get past this, because we've got Heroic Intervention to make sure our Squirrel army stays on the battlefield. So anyways, if you enjoyed the video, hey, like and subscribe. Thanks. Bye.